wow, I look like I need sleep, which I do. So how is everybody today? Told you I was gonna go live at 1 p.m. today, Eastern time, and here I am. And you can kind of see the mess in the background at my apartment. It is say, and if anyone joins, I'll be happy to take questions that have nothing to do with what I'm talking about right now. But so I was out to dinner with a bunch of friends Friday night. It was very nice. And a couple of them live out of town, so they were in town, and I know them fairly well. And one of them was interested in the online course that I'm developing. You may know, if you've watched my channel at all, some of the live broadcasts where I'm documenting my progress of creating the online course. It's about how to be comfortable on camera. And she is interested in the course, so she asked me, she hasn't done YouTube yet, and she asked me a question that I thought was a really good one for beginning YouTubers and anyone who is just kind of leery of the camera and kind of intimidated by this whole thing. She said, well, if I have something to say, how do I remember, if I'm going to go on for a few minutes, how do I remember what I'm going to say? And I hadn't really thought about that in years, because I have been trained in acting, and we learn specific techniques to learn our lines and to learn the story and all that stuff. So I'm like, I haven't thought about that in so long, but that's such a great question, and I can answer that. So my answer, if you are a beginning YouTuber and thinking about it or doing it, but you're still kind of finding your way, if you have a situation like that and you want to broadcasting live, I don't have a set script here. I just have specific things I knew I was going to talk about in case nobody joined me. But know what you're talking about. Obviously, that is the best insurance against not knowing what to say, is to know your subject inside and out. And I know memorizing lines inside and out. Not to say that I'm the best at it, but I know the techniques, and I've definitely improved over the years since I've been practicing my acting techniques. So know your subject inside and out. That doesn't just mean know what's written on the page that you're going to read from. Know the subject matter. The other thing, though, is kind of a more technical tip, and I may actually add this to the online course because I think it might be worth doing a segment on this. And here's a technique for memorizing lines that I learned from an acting instructor. But even though it's an acting technique for memorizing script, I think it's great for anybody who has show notes and you don't want to miss a point and you don't want to have to look at your notes all the time. So that is, she calls it the hateful transfer. Her name is Shannon Eubanks. She's wonderful. She's like a great actress. She's been in the business for decades. She's seen and done it all. And so she has this technique she calls hateful transfer. And what she does is, like, here, I'll grab a book right in front of me, or a pamphlet. I'll grab a pamphlet since a book is not immediately handy. My AAA discount, my AAA discount pamphlet. So say I wanted to, if I was going to use this as a script for like a commercial or something, what I would do is I'd hold my pamphlet, and I'm facing a wall right now, so I'm going to do this to the wall, but you'll understand when I do it. So what she says to do is you read it silently to yourself first a couple of times, and I'm not going to do that and bore you, but so assume that I've done that already a couple times. And then you start saying, grabbing a sentence, but you don't say it out loud while you're looking down. You say it out loud while you're looking at the wall. So I'm going to say, I'm going to grab the first sentence here. Used to save on prescriptions not covered by insurance. So used to save on prescriptions not covered by insurance was the first line of this paragraph of copy on the pamphlet. So I just looked at that and put it in my short-term memory and then set it to the wall. And so I will grab the next sentence and do the same thing. Accepted at 9 out of 10 pharmacies. So you can see I'm not reading from the page. I'm actually grabbing that sentence and then saying it to the wall. Grab sentence, say it to the wall. And you could do that throughout the entire script or your show notes or whatever it is. If you're a YouTuber, you're not going to have a script necessarily, but you may have show notes. And so what you're doing, she calls it hateful transfer because it is kind of awkward at first, but the more you do it, the more you don't have to look at your written material. You can say it to the wall or say it to a person. Doesn't really matter where you're delivering the material as long as you're not looking at the writing. And that's a great way to, over time, it depends on how complicated your notes are and how long the script is, but it's a great way to memorize written material. So she asked me about that. I'm like, oh, I gotta do a video about that. So I'll do kind of a more polished video about that. But I just, wanted to throw that out there right now for anyone who is wondering how you get in front of the camera and keep talking like I am. And then the other advantage that I have is that I just run my mouth in general. So if allowed, I will go on talking for a long time. So I guess it's a natural ability. But if you're like, I don't know, if you're shyer around the camera, or if you are worried about forgetting your words, then use this technique. It's fantastic, and it really works. So the whole goal is that you are forcing yourself not to rely on the paper, like immediately, like from moment one almost, except for when you're doing your silent read, almost from the first moment, you are getting yourself up and off the page, like as fast as possible. And even if you forget some words and you need to go back down and grab them, then you just say them to the wall, and you only speak when you're looking at the wall. That's the key to this exercise. Don't start speaking when you're looking at the page. Only speak when you are looking at the wall or whatever it is you're focusing on. Another person, the mirror, your dog, it doesn't matter. So that is my tip for how do I memorize my lines. And I use that when I get an acting gig, which, by the way, I got a new acting gig, yay! I'm gonna be if you're in Atlanta, come and see the Vagina Monologues. In February, we're doing a one-night show. It's going to be a fundraiser, February 6th at City Winery. So I'm going to be in the Vagina Monologues. I will be doing one full monologue, and then I think I'm going to be a part of another. That's what the director has told me so far. So if I pick up more than one monologue, I'll be very grateful for that, because they're all fantastic. If you haven't seen the show yet, then I encourage you to do so. Obviously, if you're not in Atlanta, then you won't be coming to my show, but if you get a chance to go see it, they're really, when I first heard the title of the play, way back when it first came out, I was like, oh my God, like how crude, how crass. I was a different person back then. But since I've come to actually know the material, and it's really very hard-hitting and funny and so truthful, and just like laying it all out there. And I think it's fantastic, and I am so grateful to be in this show. This is like, when I tell people I got a part in Vagina Monologues, they instantly light up like, oh wow. I'm like, oh, I didn't know it was that important to people, but it is, because of the subject matter. So I encourage you to find out about it. If you're in Atlanta, come to the show on, God, my hair looks disgusting. I haven't brushed it today yet. On February 6th at City Winery. That's in Pont City Market. So, okay, so I have been babbling. As you see, I have no problem talking to the camera on and on. So I've been going on for, I don't know, almost 10 minutes. So I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to guess that a lot of people are watching football today. And I did announce this in advance, so I don't want any lip from anybody that I didn't announce it in advance. You know who you are. But I'll do another live. I think Sundays are really good days for me to do lives, so I can just kind of start doing them on Sundays, and if people can join, then great. You can ask me anything that's appropriate, like, just use your common sense, use your good judgment, but I'm happy to answer questions about being vegan. I'm happy to answer questions about acting, or about how to be on camera, or how to develop a product from scratch, which is what I'm doing now. So any number of things you could ask me about, recipes, whatever you like. Yeah, so I'm going to sign off. Thank you, anyone who watches the replay. I appreciate your being here. And if you have questions after the fact about anything I've talked about anything else, leave them in the comments and I will answer. Okay? All right. See you guys next time. Bye.